there like a setting for that one that where you can make sure it doesn't automatically?
I don't know. It's not mine. It's my daughter's. I'm sure it's something in the setting. I'm ready. So you want to fight, huh? Let's get into that.
I can never sleep, I don't got too many days. Food for thought, feeding your success with the base. I can't quit the game, gotta focus till I finish. I was in the cage, yeah, now I know I'm living. They be working hard, trying to keep you in the chains. If you got your mind charged, you ain't gotta stay. Woo!
This is the Sam Jones Talks podcast, episode 17, conflict resolution. Put your fist down. Don't punch any teeth loose. Let's get into this thing right here. Now, as you know, conflict resolution is very necessary. If you can't resolve a conflict, if you can't find a middle ground, you're going to have an issue. We're going to talk about possible issues and definite solutions. So one of the reasons for a conflict is self-centered thinking. You feel that the problem centered around what you need. The solution is centered around what you need. No one else matters. You need what you need. And if both parties feel like that, you have an issue. You have a conflict. You might even have a fight. Another reason for conflict resolution is because people turn up. They take it to the next level. And sometimes what causes them to do that is because they draw a line in the sand and they give value to things that aren't valuable. So like, my sneakers cost me $150. Now, if I was wearing my $30 sneakers and you stepped on them, I wouldn't have a problem. But these sneakers, I had to save for them. So all of a sudden, these sneakers now possess the ability to make you turn up because you spent more money in it. So you added value to a situation that makes you want to turn up that doesn't have any real value. It's just sneakers. The other person can't understand why it's so serious, and sometimes that infuriates us even more. What do you mean you don't understand? My sneakers, you stepped on. Turn up. And that creates a conflict. The next thing is avoiding disagreements. Sometimes people are agreeable to, yeah, sure. Oh, it's cool, it's all right. You don't want to have an issue, so you just kind of let it slide. You keep sweeping it under the rug until the rug is the size of the Statue of Liberty, and then you erupt because you were agreeable. You didn't want any issues, and then the conflict breaks out. So here's what you lose in a conflict. You lose opportunities. You lose friends. You can lose money, a job. And sometimes if the conflict escalates to a very high level, you could lose your life. A lot of times, I've been in a car with people who, I wouldn't say road rage, but they definitely act a little nutty because someone cut them off and they begin to speak and say things. And sometimes people look at you and they don't care and they drive off. But if you get someone who's on another level and they see you doing all of this, sometimes they catch you at the stoplight. I know I've seen that. I used to live in the Bronx and I was driving behind this guy and I didn't see what happened, but I know when he pulled up to the stoplight, the guy in front of him jumped out with a bat and started breaking his glass and trying to open his car. And I'm sure whatever happened, that guy didn't think that would happen. He thought whatever he said or did would just pass, but he didn't plan on encountering that individual. So conflicts can really escalate. And when you don't deal with a conflict, it's not the kind of thing you could leave and it just kind of goes away. It festers. So here's some ways to resolve a conflict. One of the ways is to be proactive. A lot of the problems we run into are problems that we could have foreseen. We run into an issue. Sometimes we deal with the thing after the fact, when if we were proactive, we know that this person does the same thing every day. They've been annoying everybody in the office. It's a matter of time before they get around to you. By the time they get to you, it shouldn't be a surprise where you just blow off the handle. You see it happen, you should be proactive. You should have had a plan in place. Now, your plan shouldn't be, by the time Jack gets to me acting crazy, I'm reaching for the bat. Now, sometimes you don't have a chance to prepare and you just are in the center of a conflict that just escalated quickly. And one of the ways to resolve the conflict is to not be self-centered. Not to be so stuck on your point and what makes sense to you and what you need and what's right. Because in doing so, you remove any opportunity for negotiation. What makes a good negotiation is me hearing you, hearing where you're at, what your issue is, what your challenge is, and trying to meet you halfway. And one of the ways to do that is to find a common goal. A lot of times I've been in situations where people are arguing and they both want the same thing. but they're on different sides of the spectrum and no one's listening. Because had one of the parties listened, they would hear that one of the things that the people said they want was something that they said they wanted. So if you could start from the point of mutual agreement, where we both agree, then you can kind of work your way back over the disagreements, because we're starting from a place of camaraderie or understanding. So find common ground. Sometimes you have to identify the goal. Maybe you guys have the same goal. You're at work, you're both trying to achieve the same thing. You're both trying to meet this deadline. That's common ground. Start from there and then work your way back. And then other times you just have to walk away from the situation before you lose control, or if you realize it's not worth it. In corporate structures, they call that tabling the discussion. And that just means either we don't have the solution, we don't have the time for it, or we're not getting into this now, but we're going to stop discussing this. We're going to table the discussion, and you have to know when. And sometimes pride stops us from doing that, because we got to be heard. You got to hear my point. You're going to hear what I have to say. And if both parties feel that way, there's certainly going to be a conflict. But if you can just step back for a minute and say, you know what, this is heated. This is past the point of no return. So I'm going to pull out. I'm going to take the high ground. I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to table this discussion. Sometimes that's a good way to deal with the conflict. And if tabling the discussion doesn't kind of put it in a position where it can be fixed, maybe you have to bring in a mediator. Maybe you need a third party that's neutral, who can hear both sides and kind of help you work towards a solution. Sometimes you have to just agree to disagree. That person is not going to budge. No matter how much you try to find the goal, try to find the common ground, you're not self-centered, you're trying to find a way that works, they're not going to budge. Because that person is not trying to resolve the conflict. They're trying to win. They want to win and they want you to lose. In that case, you may need a mediator. And if you can't get a mediator, you may have to just agree to disagree. You know what? I agree that we can't move forward. I agree that we both disagree, so that's where we end this. Sometimes that's necessary. And, when you implement conflict resolution skills, you save things. You save relationships, husbands and wives, jobs, boyfriends, girlfriends. You save relationships when you can resolve it without everything breaking down. If you can stop being self-centered long enough to hear the other person's need and find a way around it, you also can save money with conflict resolution. There's been countless situations where I wanted to reach over the table and help someone to understand the point. Can we just put it like that? Can I be honest? But I realized that it was more important to find a healthy resolution, to find one that perhaps later a friendship could be built on, more business could be built on, and in calming myself down and walking away in thinking and not being self-centered and sticking to my point, in most cases, more cases than not, I found a way. And in working with that person and working through their situation and sometimes even working through their crazy, we were able to meet an understanding. I had to give a little. They had to give a little. And in some cases, I had to give even a little bit more, but I got the deal done and I made the money. Even if I didn't make all of the money I wanted to make, I didn't take a loss. And that would have never happened if I was so stuck on being right that I'm not budging. If I didn't give value to my point, I ain't budging, I would have lost. The other thing you can gain is tremendous success and the ability of resolving conflict. You could become so successful that now you have value and people are willing to pay you to come into situations and make things happen, whether it's in management or even if you're working in HR. They just know when this person's in this department, they're going to keep everything level. It's a level-minded person. Not only would they resolve any conflict that comes their way, but they will resolve other conflicts. You add tremendous value to yourself when you're a problem solver, when you can resolve conflicts. But the key to doing that is to be able to step away from the situation, step away from a self-centered agenda and hear what the other person is saying. An empathetic viewpoint where you're looking at the other person's perspective from their perspective. When you look at it from your perspective, they're wrong and they're crazy. But if you can look at it through their eyes, it's very helpful. I'm going to wrap with this. I remember one time I was giving a talk and I explained to these people that empathy is a tool. Yes, it could be helpful to the layman who's just living a regular life, who has relationships, who goes to the job and does different things. But for the business-minded individual, empathy is very necessary because it allows you to connect with your customers in a way that someone who's strictly operating on excessive ego cannot. Where they're trying to push them into a situation, you're trying to find out the need of the consumer, the need of the customer from their perspective, and you connect with them. And I gave the example in the talk of a salesman who, when you walk into the car dealership, he's trying to get your credit, he's trying to show you cars, he's just moving so fast, he's annoying. He doesn't even know what you're looking for. She doesn't even know what you're looking for. They just want the sale. Then you have the other salesman who is more empathetic. They want to understand what your budget is. Why did you come in today? What are you looking for? What's the size of your family? They want to understand your need. And you walk away from that guy feeling like you just gained a friend, because they were able to look at your situation from your perspective, and you want to give them your business. You want to tell other people about them because they understood you. So being able to resolve a conflict and meet people where they are is a tremendous skill. But more importantly, it's just the right way to live your life. That's it, man. Reach for the highest good, resolve your conflict, and move forward. You absolutely can. I'll see you soon.